take, but you do not need to wait 3 dates before you sleep with someone. It is okay to sleep with somebody after 3 dates, or if you want to sleep with them before the 3 dates. If you are genuinely trying to build a relationship, get to know somebody, you are dating with intention, you need to focus on what that build of intimacy looks like for you. It should not be defined by the number of dates, but about where you're at with that particular person and how you want to grow closer, what you want to learn about them. That's what you need to decide on.
I strongly disagree. And I don't think you should be encouraging women to sleep with anyone before barely 3 dates. 3 dates is the bare minimum. Before you allow anyone to access quite literally the deepest parts of you in a physical way, I think it is fair to at least wait for 3 dates until you get to know them first. I am not making this video to convince women to wait until marriage, but listening to this type of advice and seeing that some people agree with it is baffling to me. I have already made a video about how there are many women that are confusing other women on purpose with the wrong type of advice on TikTok, and their videos are going viral and many women are listening and taking notes, and it just ends up backfiring because there are also many videos of women being very lonely and vulnerable and opening up about how difficult it is to find anyone at all when they are dating in their 30s.
I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't drink anything without feeling pain, true pain.
I'm 38 years old. I've never been married. I've never had children. I have 3 cats in my house. Only 2 of them are mine. But it's another Christmas that is about to come and go where my relationship status is the same. And it's crazy because if you had asked me 10 years ago if I would be single at 38, I would have been like, absolutely not. And if I am, then just me now, you know? Here's one of my kitties. Look at this little baby girl. This is Willow. Say hi, Willow. And I have such a complicated relationship with this time of year. I really do. Because I have a complicated relationship with being single. There's a part of me that really values my life and my time to myself and my independence. And then there's a part of me that feels really embarrassed about admitting that I want to be in a relationship. And I think a big part of that is it makes me feel like maybe I'm being needy or I'm being clingy and all these I don't know what it is, but it's almost embarrassing. I feel embarrassed to be 38 and single.
Now, I don't know these women. I'm just showing you that there are women that are trying to date maybe later on in life, in their 30s, in their late 30s, maybe even in their early 40s. And to tell them to go ahead and participate in hookup culture and just sleep around and with anyone before even the 3rd date is not the right type of advice for this type of problem. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not implying that the women that I just showed you now have been having many random or multiple hookups. I'm just saying for this specific type of problem, people looking for someone serious, a long-term relationship, people looking for love, for a life partner, for a potential husband, for these women, it is not a smart thing to tell them to go ahead and not even have a 3 dates rule. Also, I just want to clarify that it is not embarrassing to be single in your 30s. Maybe you're just not doing it the right way. You're not looking for someone the right way. You may think that you are very serious, that you are doing everything you can do to find the right person. But at some point, if you are single past a specific age, then you should just admit that whatever you've been doing, if you are truly looking for a partner, for someone suitable, someone compatible, the best possible match for you, and you're not finding anyone at all, then you should take some time and realize that what you're doing may be the wrong approach. You should change it around, try something new. What I don't want you to be doing now is listening to some horrible advice on TikTok and participating in hookup culture. If you are in this type of pain, if you are suffering, if you need to find someone, if you are longing for companionship, for a life partner, someone that is going to be with you, hold your hand for the rest of your life and until the end, obviously, you don't need a new person, another person in your pants. That's not what you need right now. And I have seen some mean comments on this type of videos from men asking, oh, what were you doing in your 20s? You were partying, you didn't want to settle down. Where are all the men that you've been with? I understand that some men are fed up. They're done with dating. They don't want to date women anymore. They think women have very high expectations and that they don't start looking for the nice guy until later in their 30s, and that's not the way that men want to do it. I understand that, but at the same time, I can't be blaming these women. Obviously, they are putting in effort. They are trying to find someone. And that's why I'm here. That's why I created this channel, to give the right type of advice. And if you are a woman in a similar situation, the last thing I want you to believe is that hookup culture is empowerment. The truth is that true empowerment includes the power to say no, even when society says yes. Just because hookup culture is normalized doesn't mean it's right for your soul, your heart, and your future. Also, I just want to clarify, the idea that men and women experience casual sex the same way is false. Biologically, emotionally, and socially, the consequences are drastically different. Men often are praised for it. Women are often left with regret, whether they admit it or not. And I do encourage women to do what they want with their bodies. But at the end of the day, I encourage them to date strategically too, especially if they are looking for marriage, if they are dating for marriage. It doesn't serve any woman to go on different dates and to have random hookups when she is looking for someone to do the rest of her life with. In fact, I think that hookup culture hasn't elevated women at all. It's made them easier to access without commitment. Many women think that they are in control, but often they're just participating in a game designed for men to win and leave. And even though I am trying to wake women up and make them realize that hookup culture does not benefit them, still, even in this scenario, most men would still agree with me, because even though men are demonized and even though men appear to be the ones benefiting from this entire thing, the truth is that when men want to commit, they look for the hard to get women, the women that are not participating in hookup culture. That's why it is in their best interest too to have a category of women that is not participating in hookup culture, because a man doesn't want the woman that he will finally decide to offer a ring to and commit to have been easily accessible to anyone.
The reason I say not to sleep with men for a certain amount of time, maybe 3-4 months or however long you feel is right, if you want a long-term relationship, is because, not because I'm this wildly prudent woman and I don't want you all to do that. I mean, do that if you want, but there's this magic spot where men will strive to impress you and they will strive to get to know you until you've given them the keys to the gate of actually sleeping with them. When you have granted them that access, so to say, they feel that they have met all the requirements that you need in order to accept them. It's the ultimate female acceptance, is to sleep with a man. You're basically telling him that, yes, everything you've done is enough. And the second part of that a lot of people don't think of is male attraction is based on, first of all, when you see someone, he's not walking past and going, oh, God, her mind, it's just so wonderful. Let's talk. He's seen you and he's found you physically attractive. Until you haven't slept with him, he can now start to pull back and also realize your mind, your interests, your unique personality. And because you haven't slept with him, he's had time to notice it. And you can now stand out above other women because you're not only your body and your looks, but you're also these intricate, incredible personality traits and quirks and all these things that he's going to find fascinating, but he can only zone in on them until he gets accepted by you and gets what he wants. But if you just want a sexual partner, do it. We can do what we want. This advice is for women who want a long-term relationship and want to be valued above others. But if you just want to sleep with someone, you also can.
See, this is good advice. This last clip was supposed to show you that not all women on TikTok are giving horrible advice. This is actually good advice for women that are now looking for marriage and can't seem to figure it out. Part of the game involves not participating in hookup culture. Of course, there's more to it. And if you want a detailed step-by-step chronological guidance that I've squeezed and put into a course, then you can have access to that by joining my community. You will find the link for it in the description box under the video. It's a course that is designed to help you find the most suitable partner and your potential husband within ideally 6 months to a year. You will find it available in the classroom section of my community after you join, of course. But again, my point here is that there are still women that are giving good advice, and she explained it so beautifully. Let's be honest. Hookups are not going to help you, especially if you are truly looking for the one, truly looking for your life partner and your husband. When you offer your soul, body, and everything that you have as a woman on a golden platter to a guy that barely paid for a first and second date, of course you're going to get heartbroken. Of course you're going to get frustrated and fully depressed and feel miserable when that guy doesn't even take the time to write you a proper goodbye text and to properly tell you that he's not actually interested. And before you know it, as a woman, what felt empowering in your 20s can feel heartbreaking in your 30s.
You slept with 1,000 men, not 999 in 12 hours.
Yeah, well, 1,057. I hit the 1,000 and there's still 57 men queuing. I couldn't say to them, sorry guys, I know you've just put in a long shift waiting, you've brought your packed lunch, you need to go home. Of course, I was like, welcome in.
I still had to include this clip here because I feel like any woman that is looking for a husband, that is dating for marriage, should stay away from this type of media, should stay away from Bonnie Blue, should not watch this type of content at all. Because yes, she is free to do whatever she wants with her body, and unfortunately, this is the path she has chosen for herself. But between me and you, I think that this clip is meant to brainwash women into thinking that the bare minimum, if a guy barely pays for one first date, then you are obliged to give him something in return. And I'm sure you understand what I mean by something in this context, because she said just because someone waited, she felt like she can't dismiss them and she had to do it now. But of course, this is very different in this context because she was doing a challenge. And at this point, she has already been intimate with over 1,000 men, which is ridiculous and unnecessary, in my opinion. You are not obliged to reward any man with intimacy. Only a husband, only someone that has vowed to stay by your side until the end of your days can qualify as someone that deserves that part of you and that side of you. And of course, I understand that divorce exists. He can still turn his back to you someday. But in that moment of time, when he vowed to be with you forever and when he became your husband, that's the only way a man should qualify and be worthy enough. Of course, not all women are going to agree and wait for marriage, but if you do at least understand how sacred your body is supposed to be, then that's all I intended for this video anyway. And let me end it on this note. This girl, Bonnie Blue, that went on this crazy challenge and got intimate with over 1,000 men. Do these men care about her really? If she leaves this studio or that building where she was when she did the deed, if she leaves and she gets struck by a big truck in that same second and she loses her life, how many men out of these 1,000 men is gonna care or shed one tear for her? Do you think any of them will care? I don't think so. And this is why it's important not to give yourself up and your body to anyone, because these men don't care if she got struck by a truck, if she died the next day, if she died while leaving the building where they got intimate. They don't care what happens next to her. These men are indifferent to her. They don't care about her. They don't deserve whatever she did for them. And of course, they're not going to care or shed one tear if anything happens to her. Even if it happened the next day, it becomes toxic in a way. If you watched up until this point, you may as well go ahead and subscribe. And like I said, you can always join my community and you will find me there.